on Bamer art, simple and easy acrylic painting techniques, with the painting of a giant moon knight. And couple of articles to keep you company. Life with witty 10 inspirational quotes that can improve yourself. It might take a little coffee or probably a few rounds of beer or any other booze you could get your hands on when it comes to relaxing after a hard day's work. Well, yeah, I'm guilty about that one as well, unless I'm caught dead wearing a lampshade over my head after a few rounds of vodka half naked. Okay, bad example, and I apologize to everyone reading this after getting nightmares about me in that state of drunken stupor. Just don't ask how it happened, please. But what's really interesting is that how do people go through the usual part of life when faced with vein-popping stress? I mean, the new age thing like Zen or yoga is one of the good things, and it actually works. Is there room for the intellectual side of people who can actually smell the roses in a can while on the move? It kind of had me thinking that there really must be something in this mind over matter thing. Humor is indeed the best medicine there is whenever you are. I mean, anyone can pay good money to listen to a comedian just to make you wet your pants after laughing so hard. Despite of what's been happening, and to those who has gone through the ordeal, it's better to just laugh while facing the troubles with a clear mind than anger with a clouded vision. One of my favorite celebrities of all time may have to be Woody Allen. Now this is one guy who gives you the in-your-face bluntness that he pulls out with gusto, even without even trying. You can talk just about anything with a man, and he's bound to mock the subject, and you'll end up laughing rather than being upset about it. Woody Allen has this to say. 1. Money is better than poverty, if only for financial reasons. It sounds good to me. I mean, the practicality of all things does involve money, but it doesn't have to take an arm and a leg to get it. 2. I believe there is something out there watching us. Unfortunately, it's the government. Enough said. 3. There are worse things in life than death. Have you ever spent an evening with an insurance salesman? This happens to be one of the classic ones. I mean, the issue about life's little problems isn't all that bad until he shows up. Sure, relationships can get complicated, or does have its complications that probably any author about relationships is bound to discover it soon. We follow what our heart desires, unless you're talking about the heart as in the heart that pumps blood throughout your body. 4. Love is the answer, but while you're waiting for the answer, sex raises some pretty interesting questions. And if you want more, just keep on asking. 5. A fast word about oral contraception. I asked a girl to go to bed with me, she said no. It sounds practical, I think. And when it comes to everyday life, he really knows how to make the best out of every possible scenario, and it doesn't involve a lawsuit if he strikes a nerve. 6. Basically, my wife was immature. I'd be at home in the bath and she'd come in and sink my boats. I never had a boat in my bathtub before. Just staring at it while soaking in hot water makes me seasick already. 7. I am not afraid of death, I just don't want to be there when it happens. If it rains, it pours. 8. I am thankful for laughter, except when milk comes out of my nose. It could get worse when you're guzzling on beer or mouthwash, and it happened to me once. 9. If you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. At least he doesn't smite us with lightning, and I'm thankful for that. And despite of what may happen to all of us in the next 10, 20, or even 30 years, I guess we all have to see things in a different kind of light, and not just perspective. I can't seem to imagine life without any piece of wisdom that could guide us. Whether we're religious or not, it takes more courage to accept your fears, and learn how to deal with them is all that matters when it comes to even just getting along. And to sum things up, here is the last nugget of wisdom to go by however, whenever, and wherever we may be. 10. The talent for being happy is appreciating and liking what you have, instead of what you don't have. What really makes you tick? 10 questions you should ask to yourself. A preparation to self-improvement. Be all you can be, but it's not always the army. I often see myself as somewhat contented with my life the way things are, but of course it's hard to think of anything else when there are real issues to be discussed. Still, I aspire for something deeper and more meaningful. So we're all pelted with problems. Honestly, it shouldn't even bother or even hinder us to becoming all we ought to be. Aspirations as kids should continue to live within us, even though it would be short-lived, or as long as we could hold on to the dream. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or can they? 1. What do I really want? The question of the ages. So many things you want to do with your life and so little time to even go about during the day. Find something that you are good at can help realize that small step towards improvement. Diligence is the key to know that it is worth it. 2. Should I really change? Today's generation has taken another level of redefining self, or at least that's what the kids are saying. Having an army of teenage nieces and nephews has taught me that there are far worse things that they could have had than acne or maybe even promiscuity. So how does that fit into your lifestyle? If history has taught us one thing, it's the life that we have gone through. Try to see if partying 70s style wouldn't appeal to the younger generation, but dancing is part of partying. Watch them applaud after showing them how to really dance, then break their bones in breakdancing. 3. What's the bright side in all of this? With so much is happening around us, there seemed to be no room for even considering that light at the end of the tunnel. We can still see it as something positive without undergoing so much scrutiny. And if it's a train at the end of the tunnel, take it for a ride and see what makes the world go round. 4. Am I comfortable with what I'm doing? There's always the easy way and the right way when it comes to deciding what goes with which shoes, or purse, shirt and whatnot. It doesn't take a genius to see yourself as someone unique, or else we'll all be equally the same in everything we do. Variety brings in very interesting and exciting questions to be experimented. 5. Have I done enough for myself? Have you, or is there something more you want to do? Discontentment in every aspect can be dangerous in large doses, but in small amounts you'll be able to see and do stuff you could never imagine doing. 6. Am I happy at where I am today? It's an unfair question, so let it be an answer. You love being a good and loving mom or dad to your kids, then take it up a notch. Your kids will love you forever. The same goes with everyday life. 7. Am I appealing to the opposite sex? So maybe I don't have an answer to that, but that doesn't mean I can't try it, though. Whether you shape up, change the way you wear your clothes or hair, or even your attitude towards people, you should always remember it will always be for your own benefit. 8. How much could I have? I suppose in this case there is no such things on having things too much or too little, but it's more on how badly you really need it. I'd like to have lots of money, no denying that, but the question is that how much are you willing to work for it? 9. What motivates me? What motivates you? It's an answer you have to find out for yourself. There are so many things that can make everyone happy, but to choose one of them may be the hardest part. It's not like you can't have one serving of your favorite food in a buffet, and that's it. Just try it piece by piece. 10. What really makes you tick? So, what really makes you tick? You can be just about anything you always wanted to be, but to realize that attaining something that may seem very difficult is already giving up before you even start that journey. Always remember that self-improvement is not just about the physical or philosophical change you have to undergo, but it's something that you really want. A piece of Blarney Stone. 10 Ways to Empower Your Communication. The Blarney Stone is a historical stone, or actually part of the Blarney Castle in Ireland, where it was believed that kissing the stone can grant you the gift of gab. Yeah, it seems strange in this day and age, but who are we to question tradition? It's not like I'm saying that Santa Claus doesn't exist. Oops. There is so much to know about conversation that anyone, even I, could ever realize. You can go though watching talk shows, radio programs, clubs dedicated to public speaking, ordinary conversations. Certain rules still apply when it comes to interaction through words. It may sound tedious, I know, but even though it's your mouth that's doing the work, your brain works twice as hard to churn out a lot of things you know. So what better way to start learning to be an effective communication is to know the very person closest to you. Yourself. 1. What you know. Education is all about learning the basics, but to be an effective speaker is to practice what you've learned. My stint as guest at every Toastmasters meeting I go to taught me that we all have our limitations, but that doesn't mean we can't learn to keep up and share what we know. 2. Listening. It's just as important as asking questions. Sometimes listening to the sound of our own voice can teach us to be a little bit confident with ourselves, and to say the things we believe in with conviction. 3. Humility. We all make mistakes, and sometimes we tend to slur our words, stutter, and probably mispronounce certain words, even though we know what it means, but rarely use it only to impress listeners. So in a group, don't be afraid to ask if you're saying the right word properly, and if they're unsure about it, then make a joke out of it. I promise you it'll make everyone laugh and you can get away with it as well. 4. Eye contact. There's a lot to say when it comes to directing your attention to your audience with an eye-catching gaze. It's important that you keep your focus when talking to a large group in a meeting or gathering, even though he or she may be gorgeous. 5. Kidding around. A little bit of humor can do wonders to lift the tension, or worse, boredom, when making your speech. That way, you'll get the attention of the majority of the crowd, and they'll feel that you're just as approachable and as human to those who listen. 6. Be like the rest of them. Interaction is all about mingling with other people. You'll get a lot of ideas, as well as knowing what people make them as they are. 7. Me, myself, and I admit it, there are times you sing to yourself in the shower. I know I do. Listening to the sound of your own voice while you practice your speech in front of a mirror can help correct the stress areas of your pitch. And while you're at it, you can spruce up as well. 8. With a smile says it all, much like eye contact. There's no point on grimacing or frowning in a meeting or gathering, unless it's awake. You can better express what you're saying when you smile. 9. A role model. There must be at least 1 or 2 people in your life you have listened to when they're at a public gathering or maybe at church. Sure, they read their lines, but taking a mental note of how they emphasize what they say can help you once you take center stage. 10. Preparation. Make the best out of preparation rather than just scribbling notes, and often in a hurried panic. Some people like to write things down on index cards, while others resort to being a little more silly as they look at their notes written on the palm of their hand. Not for clammy hands, please. Just be comfortable with what you know since you enjoy your work. And that about wraps it up. These suggestions are rather amateurish and edgewise, but I've learned to empower myself when it comes to public or private speaking, and it never hurts to be with people to listen how they make conversations and meetings far more enjoyable as well as educational. Become a leader. Contrary to what most people believe, leadership is not about power. It is not about harassing people or driving them using fear. It is about encouraging others towards the goal of the organization. It is putting everyone on the same page and helping him or her see the big picture of the organization. You must be a leader, not a boss. People follow others when they see a clear sense of purpose. People will only follow you if they see that you know where you are going. If you yourself do not know where you're headed to, chances are people will not follow you. Being a leader is not about what you make others do. It's about who you are, what you know, and what you do. You are a reflection of what your subordinates must be. Studies have shown that one other basis of good leadership are the trust and confidence your subordinates have of you. Trust and confidence is built on good relationships, trustworthiness, and high ethics. Once you have their trust and confidence, you may now proceed to communicate the goals and objectives you are to undertake. Communication is a very important key to good leadership. The knowledge and technical expertise you have must be clearly imparted to other people. You must be able to assess situations, weigh the pros and cons of any decision, and actively seek out a solution. Leaders are not do-it-all heroes. You should not claim to know everything, and you should not rely upon your skills alone. You should recognize the skills and talents your subordinates have. Only when you come to this realization will you be able to work as one cohesive unit. Remember, being a leader takes a good deal of work and time. It is not learned overnight. Build your self-esteem. So how do you keep up your self-esteem in a hard-hitting atmosphere? It seems like everywhere you turn. The best way is to know the kinds of people and situations that will bring you down and thwart your efforts to stay focused. Here we will focus on some of these people and situations you need to avoid if possible. Negative work environment. Beware of the dog-eat-dog theory, where each person is fighting just to get ahead. Competition is every place. Make sure it is a fair competition. Other people's behavior. Gossip mongers, whiners, backstabbers, controllers, naggers, complainers, exploders. All these kinds of people will create awful feelings for you. Changing environment changes challenge our paradigms. Change will be there forever. You can't avoid this one, but can learn to deal with it. Past experience. Don't let pain change into fear. Treat each failure and mistake as a lesson. Negative worldview. Don't wrap yourself up with all the negativities of the world. In building self-esteem, we must learn how to make the best out of worst situations. Identity. You have your own identity. If your parent is a failure, it doesn't signify you have to be a failure as well. Learn from other people's experience, so you'll never have to encounter the same mistakes. You can't always avoid or even change a situation. And you certainly aren't going to have much luck changing a person. You can, however, learn how to avoid such situations and people, and deal effectively with those you can't avoid. Just putting the above advice into action in your life, you will see your self-esteem grab hold and start to climb. Before long, you will instinctively begin to know when a situation is bad for your self-esteem. Thank you for watching this video. And please subscribe to the channel for support. We will see you soon in the next video.